Okay, next we have user habits, and this is something that we have direct control over, and we can steer one way or the other very easily through proper training. All right, so password behaviors is a good one. If we make things too secure, in other words, we make the rules around our security policies too stringent, too locked down, if you will, then users are just going to find ways to bypass. So if we have a 5-character password, not so secure, but people can easily remember that. If we have an 8-character password, that's a lot better. But again, it doesn't border on the ridiculous to the point where they can't remember. In other words, 8 characters secure. If we give someone, hey, well, 35 characters, if 8's secure, 35 must be super secure, right? Well, if you give someone a 35-character password, and so you have to change it every 45 days, and you can't reuse the last 10, so it's got to be a new one every time. Well, guess what's going to happen? People are going to start writing everything down on sticky notes, sticking it under their keyboard, sticking it on their monitor, so on and so forth, because they just can't remember it. So we have to find that fine line or that balance between making things secure, but not making it so stringent and so ridiculous that it basically takes away the security, because people now can't remember, they can't comply, so they're going to start writing things down. Okay, also, we want to make sure we train our employees to not use such things as our kids' names, pets' names, favorite vacation spots, etc., etc. Okay, so why is that? Well, a skilled social engineer could simply strike up a conversation with someone, and in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes, they talk about what types of sports their kids like to play, where they like to vacation, what type of car, what's their favorite car, what's their pet's name, and you can figure out all of these things in a very short conversation. And then once that happens, and they have that information, they understand things about you, like your pet's name, vacation spot, favorite car, kids' names, etc., etc. They can put all of those things together and then launch either a brute force attack or simply start to guess. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that most people, vast majority percentages I don't know offhand, but a lot of people use these types of things: their kids' names, their pets' names, their favorite vacation spots, favorite cars, so on and so forth. So it all boils down to education and letting our users know that they really should not use these types of things in their passwords. Again, very easy to get out of somebody in passing conversation. Someone that's skilled at the art of social engineering can use that information against them. Okay, the next would be data handling. Where's the data stored? Who has access? Is it in a locked cabinet or a closet? Does it require chain of custody? Things along these lines. So we have to make sure that we train our users, again, to be secure and to make sure they handle data in a very secure fashion. Okay, we're talking about digital data and digital files, obviously, to make sure that they get uploaded to the file server where they belong versus sitting on a user's desk or on their laptop that they take with them every day. Is it in a locked cabinet or a closet? Does it require chain of custody? Yes, depending upon the nature of that data as it travels or leaves from one location to another. Maybe it's offsite tapes. Maybe we're transferring it for a case or something at an offsite location. We need to make sure that it's signed in and signed out if it's appropriate for that specific piece of data. Again, so this all gets back to implementing policies and procedures and making sure that they're followed properly. Okay, the next is a clean desk policy, and I'll fail that one every time because I know my desk is never clean. But a clean desk policy basically means something not like this. Okay, we'll take this picture and then the exact opposite. We want to make sure that we don't have confidential information or sensitive information on our desk. All right, we want to make sure it's off of our desk, away from public view, especially when we leave for the day or if we leave for an extended period of time. Don't have your file folder left open with your team's or your department's accounting information or payroll information sitting wide open on your desk. It's just good. It's common sense, but it's also something that everyone needs to be aware of and keep in the front of their mind, because it's easy to forget. It's easy to just say, I'm just going to go walk real quick to the water cooler, or I'm going to go grab a quick cup of coffee. Next thing you know, you get sidetracked. Somebody else pops up and starts talking to you. A half an hour later, you come back to your desk. You could have had X number of people walk by and have access to that information. So it's important to make sure that we put things away each and every time. Make sure you lock your desktop when you walk away from your computer. Things along these lines. Okay, prevent tailgating. All right, I'm not talking about the football game. I'm talking about being fooled by people carrying items or acting like they belong, or simply someone just walking up behind you. They may not be carrying anything, but if you don't know who they are, do not let them kind of piggyback on you. Don't hold the door for them. All right, so when we're walking into our building, whether it is the turnstile in the beginning, like we have here, right, where you have to badge in basically to get through the turnstile, or if it just happens to be a door that requires access, do not let someone in that you do not know. Basic human nature is to be courteous. So we'll say, oh, I'll hold the door for you. But when we do that, we are circumventing and short-circuiting, I should say, our security procedures. If you know someone, you work with them every day, that's one thing. You can vouch for who they are. But if it's someone that you're not familiar with, do not let that happen. Okay, make sure you shut the door, let them bring out their own card and get buzzed in appropriately. Next, we have personally owned devices. Okay, in the age of BYOD, it's obviously kind of more the norm now where people start bringing their own devices and attaching to our networks. But we have to make sure that we are following policy and that we have policy in place that accounts for these types of things. Okay, some secure locations don't allow personally owned devices. Okay, so no cameras, no recording devices, etc., etc. So if you have a smartphone that has a camera, or I should say you have a phone that has a camera, like most smartphones do, that wouldn't be allowed in some secure locations. You have to have a flip phone that has no recording capability. So it just depends. Okay, some places don't allow laptops, some places don't allow any type of removable media. Other ones just have by policy that will disable removable media from the laptop, like if you can't put in a thumb drive or you can't record to a DVD. Okay, some of these things you can lock down by policy. Others you have to have, a physical, just kind of a personnel policy, if you will, and say, hey, you cannot bring your own device, you cannot attach your own device to our network. All right, so if you can, well, then you need to make sure you have controls around that to account for those things. So it's really just comes down to a corporate business decision, and then appropriately kind of construct policies around that.